Here we are, guys. We are back as promised as a follow-up to our sweet gum tincture making video. Today we're going to be straining our tinctures. I did say at the end of my video that I would come back in about 6 weeks time. The reason I say that is because it's kind of just a given that people know that your tinctures need probably at least 6 weeks. But if anybody who follows me on Instagram saw my little follow-up apology video, we did actually pass the 6-week mark. I think at the time we went into 8 weeks when I made my apology video, and I think now we're more at like 10 weeks. But I think that's kind of a good thing that that happened, because I think it's an excellent opportunity once again to point out that in my opinion, herbalism is not about perfectionism. It's not at all. And I usually would tend to label myself as like a folk herbalist. I do employ the folk method. I figure what was good for my ancestors is good enough for me. So there's not a whole lot of scientific method that you're gonna see being employed in my videos. It is kind of just a little bit of a free-for-all natural process, which is a nice fit for me. That's what works for me. May not work for everybody, but that's what you'll see in any of my videos that you watch of mine. And so we are at the 10-week mark, but that's okay. That's okay. Our tinctures are going to be fine. It's just about it being at least 6 weeks, which we have taken care of, and we're all good with that. So without further ado, we will get working to strain our tincture. Okay. So first things first, we want to gather up all of our supplies, which I have done. And you are going to need the following. Obviously, most importantly, we have our tincture that has been sitting for the allotted amount of time. Sweet gum pods, again, this is in an Everclear, which is 150 proof liquid. I wouldn't normally use that strong of a menstruum. It happened to be all I had in the house. And with sweet gum pods, thicker things like roots, it's okay. If you were working with, say, I don't know, lemon balm leaves or mugwort, or using some sort of a more gentle plant material, that was actually something that would be way too overboard. It would be way too strong. It would actually end up not just pulling the chemical constituents out of the plant, but it would actually end up really drying it out. It's a very weird thing that happens, but 150 proof is too strong. Okay for sweet gum pods, okay for things like thicker things like roots and berries. I've actually got some hawthorn berry tincture that I'm also making that I'm gonna strain today, as well as a couple other things I'll share with you guys. But 80 proof, I think I said this in the first video, is more than sufficient. Okay. So, got our sweet gum pods that will need to be strained. We have a funnel. Just because I specifically put my tincture straight into a bottle. The bottles that I generally use, that I always would highly recommend, the shelf life on your tincture is going to be probably a good, amount of years, probably at least 3 years on a good tincture. If you keep it in a bottle that's amber colored glass, I guess I should say. Because you don't want sunlight or basically light. You don't want any light or heat filtering into your tinctures because it will change, it will alter the chemistry of the tincture. I have these, which are awesome. These are kombucha bottles. I love these. But my very favorite, actually, I don't have any more of these right now currently. This is my albizia, my mimosa tincture. I will generally house my tinctures in these bottles. These are my favorite, little cork top. You just open them up here, and of course then you funnel them into your smaller dropper bottles. But for housing them, for storing, any amber glass color bottle is just ideal. Okay, and then the other thing that we need before we proceed, our bottle, our funnel, it's as simple as that, and then is cheesecloth. There are varying types of cheesecloth you can buy. Pretty easy to buy it. I actually find this at my local grocery store. Target sells a really nice one that's all bamboo. Most important thing, you just want to make sure that it's in its natural, unbleached form, because obviously you don't want to be introducing any chemical, harmful man-made chemicals, I should say, into our tincture. This is pure, it's natural, it's from nature, it's earth medicine, and we just don't want to mess with it in any other way. So cheesecloth, I happen to have some already in another bag that I've used. Now, I did forget to grab my scissors, which I would normally have here with me, because you don't always need a large piece of cheesecloth. Really don't need much. So this piece is large enough. It's actually doubled up, and we don't even need it doubled up. Just one piece is fine. Like half of this is probably good enough for what we're doing. I tend to use my cheesecloth sparingly. It's not super expensive, but why get rid of it or throw it out in the trash if you don't need to? So I don't know that every herbalist would recommend this, and I'm not personally recommending it, but for me, I actually don't have a problem with even reusing my, rinsing it out really good with some nice warm water, a light soap, natural soap. I will sometimes use my same piece of cheesecloth a few times. So that's it. We're gonna put this in here. Just make sure it's covered on both sides. This is actually super easy. You don't have to worry about any small plant particles going anywhere or seeping through, just because the sweet gum pods are pretty large, and they stay pretty large even though they've been sitting in the alcohol for as long as they have. All the beautiful medicine's been pulled out of it, but they really probably haven't altered in their shape very much or their size. And so this is what we've got. Now, depending on what plant material you start with, your tincture is going to be of varying colors. Sweet gum tends to be really dark. I've actually had some friends who practice plant medicine who are a little bit afraid of it because it does seem to get really dark. I've had my sweet gum go even as much as like almost a black color. Deep brown to a black color is what you're going to get. It's fine. Never had any issues with it. And so it's a simple matter of just taking this and pouring it out. I'm hoping you can see some of the color of it. Got kind of a green, kind of a brown tint to it. But simple matter of finishing it off until it's done. And that's about probably all you're going to get out of it. If this plant material was something a little lightweight, which actually I think I will go ahead and show you guys. I've got some chickweed and rose toner that needs to be strained. Maybe we could do that together and you could see the difference. With the sweet gum, you're not really going to be able to like take the pods out and squeeze them or anything. And so that's it. As you'll see, I'm going to take this out. I can show you there's not really a whole lot of plant material. And so normally I just, because every bit, every drop counts, I will go ahead and sometimes give my sweet gum, I'll give my cheesecloth a little bit of a squeeze. We just want to get every bit of medicine out of that. All right, and we are good to go. So I think what I'll do, this is it. This is it. You're done. You're gonna label this. You are gonna want to put the date on it. Again, like I said, a tincture can last on the shelf for years. We will go ahead and close that up. And then why don't, I'm gonna give my cheesecloth a quick rinse and I'll be right back. And I'm gonna show you guys how to go ahead and strain a lighter plant material. And we're back. This is our rinsed cheesecloth. Gave it a good wring. I did go ahead and grab my scissors and give it a cut. So this is that piece we had before I've cut in half. And this is, I know it looks a little scary. This is rose petals and chickweed that I collected my last little harvest before winter hit. And this is what goes into our toner that I sell in my shop, the chickweed rose toner. I do have to apologize. My bird is kind of on a rampage today. So if you hear these crazy noises that she's making, I do apologize. She's a little talkative today. That's her laughing. She's laughing at me. Okay, so got our bottle, our receptacle. The reason that this is not amber colored glass only is because it's not really necessary. The base on this is not an alcohol base. It is a witch hazel base. And so I just find with my vinegars and my toners, also because they tend to get refilled quick enough, they're not going to be sitting on the shelf for a long period of time. This is really meant to go from here to be filled into amber glass bottles to be sold in the shop. And so their shelf life doesn't tend to be as much, so it's perfectly fine to use a clear glass for that. Same thing as usual. same process. Get your cheesecloth in there. I will also make note that you can also use a metal strainer, but I never find that the metal strainer is good enough. Even with the metal strainer, I do end up still always putting cheesecloth in. Smells good. Okay, so we're just gonna go ahead and do what we did before. Difference with this is we've got this lighter plant material that's gonna end up going in there. So I go ahead and get all of my plant material into the funnel, as you can see. And then we're just gonna carefully bring up the sides of the cheesecloth. And let's hope we have enough room. My bottle is filling up very quickly. I might actually have to switch out to this. I wouldn't normally do that. But you can see, even after it's done straining, you can see we're gonna give it a squeeze and you'll see how much liquid there's still in there. So you don't wanna waste that. So you just wanna give all your herbs a gentle squeeze. Get them all into your jar, like that. Okay. What you do with your plant material when you're done, obviously we have a lot more plant material left over than we did with sweetgum. Sometimes, depending on what the plant material is and how long it's been in there, I mean, this to me, this is not, doesn't really probably have very much life into it, left to it, because we put it all inside of here. So this will probably just go in my compost bin. But I do know of people that try to reuse their plant material for other things, for cooking, for all kinds of things. Of course, depending on what you've actually strained it out of. Thanks to being able to show you guys that, I also now have my full bottle of Chicory's Rose Toner ready to go in the shop. I also have pine vinegar I'm going to be straining today. This goes into an all-natural cleaning agent that I make. And then, like I said, I have hawthorn. This is technically, in its state, considered a tincture, but I actually have plans to turn it into, from there, a cordial, which will be so yummy. And maybe one time I'll do a video on that. I happen to be a really big fan of cordials and amaros and things like that, made from herbs and roots and berries and stuff. Okay guys, that's it. Thank you so much for straining with me today. I guess if you have any questions, if I failed to maybe include anything in here that you have questions about, go ahead and drop me a line down in the comment section. The only one other thing I really wanted to get done today, I wanted to talk to you guys about, was one of the side effects of being in a pandemic. I don't know that it really applies to me so much because I'm really very much a messy hair, don't care kind of girl. But I do actually have noticed that I've got a lot of my sparkles, my glitter, my grays coming in. And I color my hair with all natural hair colorants. And so I have been entertaining the idea of creating a video for all natural hair colorants. If that sounds like something that people would be interested, kind of a DIY thing, how to mix the hair colorants, the difference in the different plant pigments, and also kind of just maybe a video of the process. If that sounds like something that's cool for you, again, drop me a note in the message or the comment section below. And as always, if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like. And also subscribe so that you don't miss out on the chance of seeing that video if and when I get it done. Okay guys, thanks for being with me. I'll see you soon.